So we got the white car in the shop. Yesterday we painfully removed the windshield by hand. Got the cowl cut back so that the high rim fits. Today I'm going to be finishing cleaning up the cowl, cutting this lower portion off here. Probably pull the high rim back off, and eventually we're gonna need to get the dash out of the car so we can finish gutting the wiring that we're not gonna need, as well as pulling this whole cluster out here. Eventually, when the motor comes back out, we'll get rid of all the brake lines. We will do a ABS delete, and then we're gonna start figuring out where all of our intercooler is gonna set. We've got a pretty good idea. It fits in the bumper really nicely, so we're gonna build some tabs. We cut one of the bars out on the Rock Solid kit, and we're gonna weld some tabs onto it and then add some threaded bungs on the intercooler to support it. So today it's just some more cutting and cleaning, trying to get things trimmed up and getting them to fit how we like, pulling out old stuff out of the car. We'll probably go through the interior some and do some cleaning, throw some stuff away that we didn't throw away when it was at Mike's house. So let's get to it. So next thing we're gonna get into is getting the dash out of the car. This roller was an old customer, so we had already done a lot of work in here and a lot of it's already been pulled out, but what we're mainly focusing on today is getting the main dash out so we can get to the harness and get to everything for like the brake booster outside, so we can remove that. I've already started here. I've got the lower panels off. Just going to be working our way through. Dash pad came out in one piece with no issues. That's at the house in a safe spot. So we're just going to go along and we're going to be pulling all of these 7mm screws. There's a lot of them hidden behind the dash. So first thing we're going to do is drop the steering column out of the car, and then we'll pull the cluster, gauge bezels, everything else we can. So once the dash is out, we'll get the airbag out. All the HVAC stuff. The main HVAC unit is already gone. We're going to be removing all of this stuff. We'll get that crap out of here, and including all the stock shifter, all that stuff is going. Stock seats coming out as well. So we'll get this car stripped. While the dash is out, we're probably going to go ahead and put the cage in it, because that's the best time. Run the dash bar and just makes everything a whole lot easier. So at the same time, probably clean up the firewall and get all that stuff done. So let's get to it. Get the front clip sitting where it's supposed to be, so everything's bolted in with the correct gaps or correct-ish, so the door's open. And what I'm trying to figure out is if the nose of the car is high enough so that when we put a hood on it, we're not going to run into issues with a giant gap here that can't be fixed. What we're going to work on today is trying to get a rigid mount with the nose. So probably going to cut this lower portion straight across. That's where the intercooler is going to sit. Take a look at what we got here. Went down to a local metal supply. Picked up some random chromoly tubing for some braces. We got some solid chromoly rod and some plate. Got all of our aluminum in from JDM tubes. So we're doing a 4-inch charge pipe, and then we're gonna have just a typical 3-inch from the turbo to the intercooler, and then we have a 3 to 4 adapter or reducer that's gonna go up to the 4-inch and then 4-inch into the 102 throttle body. Using an on-3 6-inch core intercooler. This thing's supposed to be rated for 1300 horsepower, so we'll see how it works. It fits in the bumper pretty well, so I think we're gonna be okay. Got some pipe from Squirrely 2.5-inch stainless to finish out the hot side. And then for the turbo, we're running a 92 110 VS Racing. So this is a beast of a unit. We'll see how much power this thing makes. We also picked up a short block last week. So we have a Gen 4. There's a Gen 4 6.0 sitting over there in the corner. Need to get it on an engine stand. We're probably going to tear it apart and check bearings. Put a little light hone in it with a dingleberry hone and probably a new set of rings just to be safe. So let's go ahead and get this intercooler set in here and see what we're going to be looking at in terms of getting some mounts made. These and jut over just for some extra support, because this thing is it's pretty big. It's got a lot of weight to it. It does fit in the bumper pretty well, and we're gonna have a lot of room to come through here with the 3-inch on both sides. On not sure which side yet, driver or passenger will come up to 4-inch, and then that'll go up into the high ramp. But on one side it'll just stay 3.5-inch coming out of the turbo.
It's plenty of clearance.
That's the thing too, 4.5-inch cowl, so you're gonna have a lot of room up here.
Yeah, this is plenty.
So it can come all the way to where the bumper's at and then go down
I
around.
want to clear this. Unless we're capping this and doing a remote. If that's the case, shit, you can come out to here. And then basically 180.
But then you still got to deal with the headlight.
Plus with a blanket on it.
We need to be up here to clear this, because this headlight's gonna be the back of it. It's
go
like here.
Triangle.
It's gotta go through here. So it'll be. So you can drop the turbo some. It doesn't have to be that high.
No.
If we're gonna do hood exit.
I think
Or we could offset more. Center it.
that too, big kicking wheels.
Center it that way. That would probably be the way to go.
I think with a blanket.
Yeah, this is fine.
What we're working on today is doing a budget manual rack in the car. We've got a Ford Pinto rack and pinion, this conversion bracket from BMR, and we also picked up a set of bump steer tie rod ends that's going to give us some adjustability in the up and down alignment of the rack to the steering knuckle. We're trying to budget manual rack swap, and it looks like the bottom of the Pinto rack here interferes with a little bit of the K-member. So I'm gonna undo this brake line, push it back, and just cut out this little angle here. See how it clears. Got our 6.0 apart. It was really hard to turn. It was actually pretty locked up whenever it still had the rods and pistons in it. We thought maybe piston rings stuck to the bore or something like that, but after we got it all tore down, we ended up finding some scoring in this final main journal. So the crank is going to be replaced. We do have another one for it. Just going to polish it up, use standard bearings, clean everything up. We'll be doing a different video on the complete cleanup and assembly on the 6.0. Keeping it simple on the rebuild, just doing stock replacement, king bearings and new set of rings. Just gonna put a light hone in it and be good to go. But that's gonna do it basically for this first episode of getting everything tore apart, getting the car ready. A lot of parts still chilling in the interior. We're currently waiting on the 10-point cage. We should have it in another week or two, and we can start getting that figured out. We'll have to finish taking the interior apart, stuff like the carpet has to come out, everything else. So we'll get the car completely cleaned out and start fabbing up the main cage. Basically going to do it for the first video. Really just trying to get the car apart and get everything cut out of the dash, all the random wiring and AC vents. So all of that stuff's done. We've got the high ram to fit. We got the manual steering in the car. The next thing we're going to be doing is the cage, and we're also going to be cleaning up and assembling the 6.0 that we have. We've got some standard bearings for it, new ring pack. Did have to replace the crank. The motor was really hard to turn over, but we're going to go over that in the next video. Kind of show you guys what we found and go through just the basic cleanup and assembly of it. And that's going to do it for that. We're waiting on the cage to come in. We ordered a 10-point cage for the car. Should expect it in another 1 to 2 weeks, according to the company. They're a little bit behind due to this virus stuff. So until then, that's going to do it, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.